And anytime we have goods, we do have a bad. And if I can, Iowa State, you're not gonna like me on this podcast, but Iowa State just it's bad right now. I think
yikes is the best word I can use. Yikes.
Do they want to play football? Look, when I watch them these last 2 weeks, I really feel like they're playing not to lose. They're playing very timid. And I don't know if that's a Brock Purdy thing, a Matt Campbell thing. Again, in our After Dark show, I kind of brought it up. Matt Campbell, where are you at? There's a lot of hype. Brock Purdy, where are you at? The leaders on this team, Matt Rose, he was your preseason all Big 12 defensive guy, right? Where are you at? And I think that just the energy, it just looks really it kind of gross, to be totally honest with you. Those guys need to figure out who their identity is on offense. And to be totally honest with you, Trevor, I'd love to hear your kind of breakdown of that game. But they had 4 turnovers that resulted in 20 points against Iowa. Iowa did not beat them. That's what's crazy about it. As lackadaisical and as just as they played and looked the last 2 weeks, really, getting away, 16-10 against UNI, but they haven't been beat. They've just beaten themselves.
No doubt. And I'll echo all of that. Man, pitiful performance, pitiful. Brock Purdy, man, I was high on you at the beginning of the year. I think you've got some juice. You've proven that you've got some juice. I mean, you've played forever. You're supposed to be the solid foundation of that program. If I would have put money in Bet Rivers prior to the year, I said this on the After Dark show, on Brock Purdy to have 0 touchdowns and a bunch of interceptions. I think the number's 3 at this point. Through the first 2 games of the year, I would have said, put my life savings on it. I'm making some cash. But that's what he's produced so far. You've got College game day coming to Ames to play your in-state rival in Iowa, a Big Ten team out of your conference. And they were flat. They didn't look ready to play. I will say Matt Campbell took the blame for not having his team ready to play, but you've seen that guy. You've seen what he's done there from a cultural standpoint. I know he's got juice during the week.
Yeah.
So who is it? Who are we pointing the finger at? I think we'll find out, where the rubber meets the road here pretty quick. Do they continue this trajectory of mediocrity? Or is somebody going to step up in that locker room and say, boys, we're the same team. We're the same players as last year, and look what we were able to accomplish. What's going on, and how do we change it? So I agree with you. That was a bad of the week.
We talked a little bit about it, but you got UNLV coming in. Are they going to UNLV, Iowa State?
They are.
They're going
at
to
UNLV.
Yeah,
yes,
they're at
going
UNLV.
to Vegas.
So this is another one, in terms of, especially for us, both being QBs. What we saw was kind of interesting on Saturday. We saw a different QB come in there. Now, the question I have, and I can do this because I'm on the podcast, is this too early? Is this a sign of, hey, Brock, you need to figure your junk out? Because we can't keep playing he had 138 yards and 3 picks.
Yep.
Right. And Iowa, again, I didn't feel like played that great. It was a very lackluster performance. So do you think that Brock Purdy's position is in jeopardy?
Always. You are always replaceable.
I love
that was a line that I heard since I was 2 years old. Hey, you can always be replaced. Nobody is irreplaceable from the very top down. Brock Purdy's played a lot of great ball. We know that he's capable, and I think that's why he's probably got a longer leash than anybody else, because it's like, hey, Brock, dude, just snap out of it. We've seen you throw touchdown passes. We've seen you win big games. But at some point, Matt Campbell's going to have to do what's best for his program. And if this trajectory continues, the fuse is getting a little shorter there for Brock Purdy. They got to find somebody that can get in there and win them football games. And this is not pointing the finger at Brock Purdy. It's across the board for that team. But we saw a huge, huge move of pulling Brock Purdy out of a rivalry game when it was relatively close there at the end. I think he'll start this week, but I think that he certainly is going to feel the pressure of what he has to do from a production standpoint at practice this week, and I hope that's the case. I hope their practices this week are as hard-nosed as they've had since they stepped foot on campus. What are your thoughts? You think he sticks around, or do you think he's got a very tight rope that he's hanging on to there?
The thing is, it's UNLV, right? I think they're favored by like 30 points. So the idea is they better get their offense back on track, because I just don't see Matt Campbell saying, hey, whatever you got going on, you got the Shanks, all golfers have been there. You're just not feeling the flow right now, and you're not executing. The other thing is, too, I think that, again, their run game, I mean, the dude had 1,500 yards and 49 touchdowns or whatever it was last year. I think he had over 20. With Breece Hall, they either got to figure out, hey, we're going to run through Breece Hall and give this dude 45 carries a game, or it's going to be on the back of Brock Purdy. And so I think that going into Big 12 play, you have one more scrimmage game. You've got one more game to beat up on a team that, rightfully is a very inferior opponent. But the idea being, to your point, he definitely starts. And I think he's going to be fine. They'll snap out of it. But if he doesn't, and on the crazy hypothetical situation that he doesn't, I think that they're going to be looking at making moves, because the other kid came in and threw a touchdown right away. Again, different situation, but it's just something to look at.